This is episode 7 of our travel series, and today's topic is Miles of Memories, Adventures on the Open Road. Hello, Sue.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. So, travels on the open road, we're talking about traveling by car, traveling independently. So you're not taking a bus or a train somewhere, you're traveling by yourself. What are some of the advantages of this kind of travel?
I think you can plan a route, but I think the advantages would be discovering what's in that route, because sometimes you can find information about what's there, but it's not everything. There's always little places, little kind of gems that you could kind of have a look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this before, but when you plan a trip, you might do some research, get a book, maybe you watch some YouTube videos these days. But when you're on the journey itself, you might see something that you didn't read about or you didn't hear about, and it might be interesting for you. And if you have your own car, if you're in control of your own schedule, you might want to stop and take a look at something, maybe spend half a day exploring an area that you hadn't thought about visiting before. So it gives you this flexibility to just stop and be curious about an area, or maybe learn about something that you hadn't thought about looking at before.
Yeah, you're very free with your time. When you're on a tour, a bus tour, they give you time to explore certain areas. So it is a bit difficult. Sometimes, even in those tours, you discover some things, but they might be a little bit far or you don't have enough time.
So what you're saying is on a bus tour, you're limited to how much you can explore.
I think so, in terms of time and in terms of mobility.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very fixed schedule. The whole reason that bus tours work is that they have a fixed schedule. Everybody knows we're going from here to there and we're going to stop at these places. Obviously, they need to be clear to their customers what's going to happen, where are they going to go. So there's advantages to that. For some people, that's exactly what they want. They don't want to have to think too much, get on the bus, look out the window, relax, and then get off at the next stop. But I think in many cases, having a bit more freedom to have a more personal trip and make decisions and have your kind of unique experience, I think is an important part. It's almost like you're exploring. If you take a bus tour, you don't have that sense of exploration. When you're with a group of people and everybody's going to the same place, every place you stop at, there's 40 people with you. And you didn't really do anything to get to this location. You didn't find this location by yourself. But if you're in a car, maybe you and some friends are taking a trip, there is a sense of discovery. Look at this place. Look at this place that we've arrived in. Look at this place that we found almost.
Yes, I think that changes your trip. It makes it so much more personal.
So it allows you to get off the beaten path as well. Mm-hmm. So again, if you're taking a bus tour, for example, you're going to go to the main spots, and the main spots are the main spots for a reason. You know, they're popular areas that people, recommend you visit. But sometimes you don't want to go to the main spot with hundreds of other tourists or travelers. You want to be somewhere a little bit more remote, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I traveled to Costa Rica once, and it's such a beautiful country. And the tours they were very much set. There's places that you're taken, but also for eating, for example. And we thought, well, maybe this is just very much set for tourism. So we asked if we could go to eat somewhere that, our tour guides enjoyed. And they thought about it, and they took us to this beautiful place in the middle of the mountain. They clearly knew the people there because they were very happy to see them. And we had rabbit because that was the main dish there. And it was such an experience, but we wouldn't have been able to get there without their knowledge, one, but also if we would have followed, the instructions of what to see.
Right. Yes. So it's been able to make your own decision about, okay, this is what the schedule is, but we want to try and do this. We want to sort of change the plan for today. It's interesting talking about getting out into the countryside, because one of the advantages of traveling by yourself is that you can get to more remote locations. And we live in Japan at the moment. It's very easy to get between cities. If I want to go from Tokyo down to Osaka, I can get there on a train very easily. But if I want to go out to the countryside and the mountains, it gets more difficult. And you need a car. You can get a bus, but there might be 2 buses a day or something to some remote location. So having a car allows you access to these incredibly beautiful parts of the country, which are inaccessible by public transport.
Yeah, it's more natural because it's not cities. Nature will be there. And that's always, I don't know, when I think of a trip, that's what I think of sometimes. It's just nature, just exploring nature, which is a very different feeling.
I think living in Tokyo, for us, going on a trip is getting out of the city.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go to another city, but we live in a city. So a trip for us is very often getting out into nature, getting a bit of fresh air, and a real change of scenery, and being able to explore, national parks, or getting out to the coast. Again, once you get to the coast, public transport gets a bit more difficult. So yeah, I think Japan is kind of interesting. Everybody has this idea that Japan has great public transport. And yeah, in the cities, that's absolutely true. Trains, subway, buses, taxis, whatever. But when you go to a small city or a small town, public transport is really not that common. It can be quite rare that you'll see a bus going through the town. I lived in the countryside for many years, and yeah, there was not a great bus service. You needed a car. And that was my kind of first experience of this freedom of the open road. So the open road meaning the roads outside of the city. And that's what we would do at the weekends, get a few people, jump in the car and head out and see what we could discover. Beautiful part of the world to just discover. We didn't really know much. This was pre-YouTube times, so information on what was available locally was limited. You had to talk to people and ask kind of which places should we visit. But again, you're creating your kind of unique memories. You're discovering these places, with your friends. And yeah, every weekend becomes a memorable adventure.